In this video, we're going to be showing you how to make these beautiful walnut beer totes that you could actually make out of plywood or any other wood you just have laying around. So definitely stay tuned for that. But before you do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon for all of our newest videos. In the meantime, let's get to the build.
The first thing we're going to do is trace our pattern. If you haven't already checked out our template video, you can click on it up above. This is going to be the only half-inch piece of wood that you're going to be using in the project. Basically what we want to do is just go ahead and trace a couple of these out and then cut them down. Also make it a little bit easier for kind of squaring them off and making them look good, which we'll need in the future steps. Now we're just going to go ahead and joint the edge. So this way we get a good starting point. You can use a jointer sled with this as well. And then joint the other edge on the table saw. And this will get all of our stock prepped to where we need it to be. And we're just going to do some face jointing because some of these weren't completely flat, and then run them through the jointer. If you buy 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch wood right off the bat, you won't need to do any of this stuff, but if you don't, this is basically what you're going to be going through. This is just basically cutting out enough wood so this way we can run it easily through the bandsaw. You could also use a regular saw to just cut the rest of the way through, but just be really careful if you're doing that. I don't recommend finishing it on the table saw, it's a little dangerous. Cutting the little end piece here makes it a lot easier to start the blade, regardless of how you're going to be doing the cut. And then just take it over to your bandsaw, or if you happen to just have a regular saw, and cut it right down the middle there where you made your cut. Now we're just going to go ahead and cut it down to its actual proportional size that it's supposed to be. And then we're just going to take it back over to the bandsaw. You could use a jigsaw for this too. Or even the table saw if you're really crafty with a miter gauge. It's about a 17-degree angle roughly. And then just trim the head to where you want it. We used a little cup to determine the round angle originally. You could leave this flat if you wanted. And then if you're a real perfectionist, you could use a template. And just use a 1-inch spade bit to go and cut the hole for where the hole will be going through later on. Going to do that on both pieces. And then we're going to go and cut down a little bit more wood here. So this way we can make the rest of the project items, which are all going to be 1/4 inch items, so 1/4 of an inch. And then we're just going to cut that down on the bandsaw as well. And now we'll have our sides, our fronts and backs, depending upon how you want to look at it, and your inner parts for the dividers. Now using the templates, we're just going to go ahead and space this out. You could just use a regular ruler to figure that out, but we prefer to do it that way because it's easier. And cut down the pieces so you have your bottoms, tops, and in this case here, inner components. So that's where you can get exact measurements. And then just cut out the center part. Again, it's going to be about roughly a 1/4 inch hole that you're going to be cutting out there, or dado if you wish. And then this is for the long one, which is basically the same process. This divider will go all the way across from the front to the back, or in essence each side of the beer tote. And then again, just cut a 1/4 inch dado in this one. It'll need 2. Definitely see our template video if you want some more specifics on that. And then just slip them together. A little bit of hide glue always helps on this, just like we're doing right here. We'll do a little hide glue, and then we'll switch it over to a little CA glue just to make the gluing process a little bit faster because it dries in about 5 minutes. And then just give it a little clamp up if you're too lazy to hold on to it. Now we're going to use a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill some holes about 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. So this way we can insert some dowels to give it a little bit of extra support and a little bit of a decorative angle. And they should come out looking about like this. Just put a little bit of hide glue in there and tap them in. Now if you're not using walnut, you don't need to use hide glue, of course. And then just cut them off. I do recommend a flush cut saw versus what we were doing. Now we're going to take our 1 inch dowel and we're just going to slide it through the holes. That way we can get an exact measurement. And then just draw a little line. You can either take this over to your bandsaw like we're doing here, or you can just use a conventional handsaw and chop that down. 1 inch dowel is really not that hard to go through. You want to put a little bit of glue on the end of the dowel on one side and then the dowel hole on the other side. This will keep you from having extra glue hanging off. And just match up the ends. Make it flush. Give it a little bit of a sand job and then off to finishing. There's some Watco Danish oil. It's just to give it a little bit of pop. Looks really, really nice on walnut. Now we're just going to spray on some shellac and then coat it with lacquer on the top to give a little bit of extra shine. We're going to cut down one of the screws from the bottle opener kit, so that way we can make sure we can fit it in the lower section. We'll explain that in a minute. Just make sure that you give it a little bit of a point while you're doing this. As you can see, I'm going at a little bit of an angle here. And it should look something like that. Now we're just going to use an awl and just go ahead and poke some little holes in here so that way we can drill in safely and accurately. And just drill straight into the handle. And then just give a little bit of a drill here. You don't have to go too crazy. And drill the long screw into the handle and the cutoff screw right into the bottom.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our video on these beautiful beer totes that we made. Obviously a lot of functionality, a lot of good stuff going on here on these, and more importantly, they're beautiful. So whether you're taking them out to have a day out on the lake, or you're going to be just simply putting it in your house to make a beautiful decoration, doesn't really matter. They make a great choice. But on that note, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon for all of our newest videos. Until next time, stay safe in the shop.